How much actual experience do you have? How much am I paying you? How much are the grapes? How much are the lilies? How much are the oranges? How much are the pears? How much are these apples? How much are these gloves? How much are these pens? How much are these potatoes? How much are these shoes? How much are they offering? How much are they paying Tom? How much are they? How much are we going to get paid? How much are we going to have to pay Tom to do that? How much are you asking? How much are you being paid to do this? How much are you going to get paid? How much are you guys paying? How much are you paying Tom? How much are you willing to lose? How much are you willing to pay for it? How much are you willing to pay? How much bread do you eat every day? How much caffeine is fatal? How much cake can you eat? How much can we really trust Tom? How much can we take? How much can you afford to lose? How much can you bet? How much can you pay? How much candy have you had? How much cash do you carry? How much cash do you have on you? How much cash do you have? How much coffee do you drink every day? How much coffee do you think Tom drinks every day? How much could I make a week working here? How much damage was done? How much did all this cost? How much did I lose? How much did it cost us? How much did it cost you to buy your school uniform? How much did it cost? How much did that beer cost? How much did that cost us? How much did that cost? How much did the tickets cost you? How much did the tickets cost? How much did these sunglasses cost? How much did they charge you for that? How much did they cost? How much did they give you for your old car? How much did they pay for that? How much did they pay you? How much did this bicycle cost you? How much did this bicycle cost? How much did this cost? How much did Tom pay you? How much did Tom take from you? How much did we lose? How much did we pay Tom the last time? How much did you bet Tom? How much did you bid? How much did you bring? How much did you buy that for? How much did you drink last night? How much did you drink? How much did you eat? How much did you get paid? How much did you guys spend? How much did you have to pay for that? How much did you have to pay to get your truck fixed? How much did you inherit from your uncle? How much did you lose this time? How much did you make? How much did you pay for it? How much did you pay for that suit? How much did you pay for this? How much did you pay the electrician? How much did you pay Tom? How much did you pay? How much did you say this cost? How much did you see? How much did you sleep? How much did you spend on Christmas gifts this year? How much did you spend on that? How much did you spend on this? How much did you tell Tom? How much did you win? How much distance have we covered? How much do eggs cost? How much do eggs sell for? How much do I get? How much do I have to pay? How much do I owe you for the ticket? How much do I owe you? How much do I owe? How much do these cost? How much do these pants cost? How much do they cost? How much do those things cost? How much do we have to pay? How much do you bet? How much do you charge for your services? How much do you charge per hour? How much do you charge to fix a flat tire? How much do you charge? How much do you earn? How much do you eat? How much do you feed your dog? How much do you have in the bank? How much do you have to pay? How much do you know about the process? How much do you know about Tom? How much do you know about Tom's job? How much do you know? How much do you like Tom? How much do you love Tom? How much do you make? How much do you need? How much do you owe me? How much do you owe? How much do you pay each year for your children's education? How much do you pay your gardener? How much do you read? How much do you remember about that night? How much do you remember? How much do you think it's all worth? How much do you think this is worth? How much do you think Tom needs? How much do you think Tom weighs? How much do you usually drink? How much do you want to bet? How much do you want to spend? How much do you want? How much do you weigh now? How much do you weigh? How much does a beer cost? How much does a bus ticket cost? How much does a cup of coffee cost here? How much does a soccer ball weigh? How much does a ticket cost? How much does it cost for one person? How much does it cost to get a haircut nowadays? How much does it cost to get in? How much does it cost to get to Boston? How much does it cost? How much does it hurt? How much does it usually cost to go to a professional basketball game? How much does that cost per day? How much does that cost? How much does that job pay? How much does the job pay? How much does the shirt cost? How much does this cost? How much does this hat cost? How much does this tie cost? How much does this umbrella cost? How much does this weigh? How much does Tom earn a month? How much does Tom know about Mary? How much does Tom know about you? How much does Tom make? How much does Tom owe you? How much does Tom pay you? How much does Tom spend a month? How much does Tom weigh? How much don't they know? How much drinking water do we have left? How much experience do you have? How much extra will we have to pay? How much fabric did you buy? How much farther is it? How much field experience do you have? How much food do we have left? How much food do you need? How much food does Tom have left? How much food should I be feeding my dog? How much free time do you have? How much French do you know? How much fuel does a Boeing 747 carry for a 9-hour flight? How much further do we have to go? How much further is it? How much has the plan been changed? How much have you found out? How much have you had to drink? How much healthier do you want to be? How much honey do you need? How much is a beer? How much is a kilo of grapes? How much is a room? How much is a ticket? How much is an apple? How much is enough? How much is everything? How much is 4 times 6? How much is in your checking account? How much is it for one person? How much is it going to cost me? How much is it in dollars? How much is it including insurance and tax? How much is it per box? How much is it worth to you? How much is it worth? How much is it? How much is left in your savings account? How much is that going to cost me? How much is that worth? How much is that? How much is the admission? How much is the bus fare? How much is the commission? How much is the entrance fee? How much is the handling charge? How much is the most expensive car? How much is the rent for this room? How much is the rent per month? How much is the rent? How much is the tax? How much is the ticket? How much is the tour? How much is there left? How much is this ball? How much is this book? How much is this camera? How much is this clock? How much is this coin worth? How much is this dress? How much is this going to cost us? How much is this hat? How much is this pen? How much is this racket? How much is this radio? How much is this ring worth? How much is this ring? How much is this sofa? How much is this tie? How much is this t-shirt? How much is this umbrella? How much is this watch? How much is this worth? How much is this? How much is Tom being paid? How much is Tom worth? How much is Tom's estate worth? How much is too much? How much is your life worth? How much is your rent? How much longer are we going to wait? How much longer are you going to be here? How much longer are you planning on staying in Boston? How much longer are you planning to stay in Boston? How much longer can we stay here? How much longer do we have to stay here? How much longer do we have? How much longer do you need? How much longer do you plan to live in this house? How much longer do you think I have? How much longer do you think it'll be? How much longer do you think it'll take? How much longer do you think you'll be? How much longer do you think you'll need? How much longer is it going to take? How much longer is this going to take? How much longer is Tom going to be in Boston? How much longer will it be? How much longer will we have to wait? How much longer will you be here? How much longer will you stay in Boston? How much luggage can we take? How much medicine do you take every day? How much money did they offer you? How much money did Tom promise you? How much money did Tom take out of the bank? How much money did you bring with you? How much money did you get for the diamond? How much money did you give Tom? How much money did you lose? How much money did you make last year? How much money did you spend on your car? How much money did you spend on your last holiday? How much money do I need to save before I can retire? How much money do we have left? How much money do you earn a month? How much money do you have on you right now? How much money do you have saved up? How much money do you have with you right now? How much money do you have? How much money do you make? How much money do you need? How much money do you owe Tom? How much money do you spend on clothes? How much money do you think that'll cost? How much money do you think Tom has left? How much money do you think Tom makes? How much money do you think Tom needs? How much money do you want? How much money does Tom have left? How much money does Tom have? How much money does Tom make a month? How much money does Tom owe you? How much money have you got? How much money is left? How much money should I take along with me? How much money would you need? How much more do they expect us to take? How much more do we have to do? How much more do we have to suffer? How much more do we need? How much more food is there? How much more money do we need to spend to complete this project? How much more money do we need? How much more must we suffer? How much more time do I have? How much more wine should I buy? How much more work do you have? How much of a discount can you give me? How much of a discount did you get? How much of this are you responsible for? How much of this did you drink? How much of this did you know beforehand? How much of this did you write? How much of this does Tom know? How much of this is Tom's fault? How much of what Tom said was true? How much oil is spilled into the ocean every year? How much pocket money do you get from your parents? How much public money has been spent on that project? How much rent do you pay? How much rent does Tom charge you? How much rest do you need? How much severance pay did you get? How much should I be feeding my dog? How much should I feed my dog? How much should I pay? How much should I tip? How much should my daughter be eating? How much should you exercise? How much sleep did you get last night? How much sleep do you get? How much sleep do you usually get? How much snow have you had? How much space do you need? How much space does it take? How much storage space is needed? How much stuff have you accumulated over the years? How much sugar do you put in your tea? How much sugar do you use? How much thinner do you want to be? How much time and energy do you spend on projects that don't make you any money? How much time are you going to stay in Boston? How much time did we lose? How much time did you need for that? How much time did you spend doing research before you started writing? How much time do I have left? How much time do I have? How much time do we have before dinner? How much time do we have before we leave? How much time do we have left? How much time do we have? How much time do you have? How much time do you need? How much time do you spend on a computer? How much time do you spend on Facebook? How much time do you spend playing games? How much time do you spend reading just for fun? How much time do you spend shaving every day? How much time do you spend studying French every day? How much time do you spend watching TV? How much time do you spend with Tom? How much time do you spend with your spouse? How much time do you think we have left? How much time do you want? How much time does it take? How much time does it usually take you to eat breakfast? How much time does that require? How much time does the average teenager watch TV every day? How much time does Tom have? How much time has passed? How much time have you spent discussing this topic? How much time is enough? How much time is left? How much time will we have? How much time will you need? How much trouble am I in? How much TV do you watch? How much was it? How much was the ticket? How much water do we have left? How much were you paid to say that? How much will all this cost? How much will college cost? How much will I receive? How much will it all cost? How much will it be? How much will it cost me? How much will it cost to build? How much will it cost you to go by air? How much will it cost? How much will that cost? How much will this cost? How much will you get? How much will you pay me? How much will you pay us? How much wine do you want me to buy? How much wine should I buy? How much work still needs to be done? How much worse can it get? How much worse is it? How much would you like? How much would you pay? How much you want for all this stuff? The question is how much. Tom asked how much it cost. Let's see how much it costs. I know how much you like Tom. I know how much you love Tom. I don't know how much it cost. I know how much money Tom has. I don't care how much it costs. Tom asked how much we had paid. I don't know how much Tom makes. I know how much it means to you. Show me how much money you have. Tom asked how much the fare was. Tom asked me how much I weighed. Tom didn't say how much it cost. I know how much you meant to Tom. I know how much this means to Tom. I know how much this means to you. I know how much Tom means to you. I know how much Tom meant to you. I wonder how much money Tom makes. Now, exactly how much do you want? Tom guessed how much Mary weighed. I don't know how much time we have. I know how much you care about Tom. I told Tom how much money I needed. I want to know how much Tom weighs. I had forgotten how much I liked Tom. Let's find out how much we owe Tom. Tom asked how much the ticket cost. I don't know how much time I've got. I wonder how much we'll have to pay. It doesn't matter how much it costs. No one knew how much Tom loved Mary. Tom asked Mary how much she weighed. I can't tell you how much I like Tom. I can't tell you how much I miss Tom. I can't tell you how much this helps. I don't care how much money you have. I'm impressed with how much you know. Tom asked Mary how much she had paid. Tom doesn't know how much it'll cost. I don't know how much money we've got. I don't know how much more I can take. I'm not sure how much you'll get paid. Tom asked Mary how much money she had. Tom didn't know how much he had drunk. Tom didn't know how much he had spent. Tom doesn't know how much Mary weighs. I don't know how much more I can stand. I don't know how much the ticket costs. I know how much you value your privacy. I would like to know how much it costs. I can't remember how much I paid for it. I can't tell you how much I'll miss Tom. I don't know how much longer I can stay. I don't know how much longer it'll take. I know exactly how much it means to you. I saw how much Tom was enjoying himself. I don't know how much this motorcycle is. I wonder how much longer we have to wait. Tom doesn't know how much Mary loves him. I can't tell you how much I've missed you. I didn't realize how much Tom missed Mary. Please tell me how much you paid for that. How often and how much should I feed my dog? I can't tell you how much this means to me. I can't tell you how much we've missed you. I don't know how much longer I can do this. I don't know how much those 2 bikes cost. I never realized how much I would miss you. I wonder how much time we've wasted so far. Tom didn't say how much money he had spent. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I told Tom how much I valued Mary's opinion. I wish I could show you how much I love you. It's rude to ask someone how much they earn. Tom doesn't realize how much Mary loves him. I can't tell you how much I learned from Tom. I don't think I realized how much I loved you. I forgot to tell you how much you need to pay. Tom didn't tell Mary how much money he'd spend. Tom doesn't know how much the ticket will cost. I can't tell you how much I appreciate your help. Tom didn't tell Mary how much money he had spent. If anybody can beat Tom, it's you. If anybody can fix it, it's Tom. If anybody can help us, it's Tom. If anybody could convince Tom, it would be Mary. If anybody had asked me if I were married, I'd have said I was. If anyone can do it, it's Tom. If anyone can do it, Tom can. If anyone here can help us, we'd appreciate it. If anyone is to blame, it's you. If anything bad had happened, I would have been told. If anything can go wrong, it will. If anything goes wrong, give me a call. If anything happens, call me right away. If anything happens, I'll give you a call. If anything happens, let me know. If at all possible, you should go and look into the matter yourself. If blaming me makes you feel better, go right ahead. If both Tom and Mary go to prison, who'll take care of their children? If dinner isn't ready by 7, I'm going to a restaurant. If God did not exist, it would be necessary to invent him. If Grandma doesn't come, the children will be disappointed. If he could pass for 18 years old, he'd join the army. If he doesn't accept the job, somebody else will. If he doesn't accept the job, someone else will. If he doesn't come, what will you do? If he finds out, certainly he will be very angry. If he had been there, I could have given him your message. If he had known her phone number, he could have called her up. If he had studied harder, he would have passed the exam. If he had taken his doctor's advice, he might still be alive. If he had taken my advice, he would now be rich. If he really doesn't want to go, he shouldn't have to. If he'd been alone at that time, he'd have died. If he's busy, help him. If he's fluent in English, I'll hire him. If I can do it, so can you. If I can understand it, anyone can. If I can't stay here, I need to find somewhere else to stay. If I can't trust my parents, who can I trust? If I could explain it, I would. If I could go, I would. If I could have spoken French better, I might have gotten that job. If I could help Tom, I would. If I could speak French half as well as you, I'd be happy. If I could stay longer, I would. If I could stay, I would. If I could have prevented this, I would have. If I did that, Tom would be upset. If I do that, Tom will laugh at me. If I don't come, who will? If I don't do it, it won't get done. If I don't do this, who will? If I don't get the job, I'll tell Tom. If I don't go, who will? If I don't protect you, who will? If I don't tell Tom, who will? If I eat any more, I won't want dessert. If I find your passport, I'll call you. If I forget, please remind me. If I go, you'll be all alone. If I had 25% more income, I'd be more satisfied with my life. If I had a choice, I probably wouldn't be doing this. If I had a choice, I'd go home now. If I had a dime for every time I heard that, I'd be rich. If I had a son, I wouldn't name him Tom. If I had bought the painting then, I would be rich now. If I had enough money, I could buy this camera. If I had enough money, I could go abroad. If I had had enough money, I would have bought the bag. If I had had more money, I would have bought the pen. If I had had my way, we wouldn't be in this mess right now. If I had known about your illness, I could have visited you in the hospital. If I had known her address, I could have visited her. If I had known your email address, I would have written. If I had money, I could buy it. If I had my way, you would all be fired. If I had seen Tom yesterday, I would have talked to him. If I had time, I would study French. If I had wanted it, I would have asked for it. If I hadn't come to Boston, this never would have happened. If I hadn't had your cooperation, I couldn't have finished the work in time. If I hadn't wanted to be there, I wouldn't have gone. If I have time, I'll do it. If I have time, I'll drop by. If I have time, I'll drop in. If I knew anything, I'd tell you. If I knew her name and address, I could write to her. If I knew it, I would tell you. If I knew that, I'd tell you. If I learned to play the washboard and you learn to play the kazoo, maybe we can join a jug band. If I lost my key, I wouldn't be able to lock the door. If I need money, I'll ask my father. If I remember correctly, that's the song Tom sang at Mary's wedding. If I remember correctly, Tom and Mary got married in October of 2003. If I remember correctly, Tom sold his car to Mary for just $500. If I remember correctly, Tom used to be a carpenter. If I see Tom, I'll tell him that. If I start eating potato chips, I can't stop. If I tell my mother, she'll worry, so I don't think I'll tell her. If I want your opinion, I'll ask you for it. If I want your opinion, I'll ask for it. If I wanted to kill you, I could kill you. If I were a rich man, I wouldn't have to work hard. If I were a shareholder, I'd be upset. If I were in your situation, I would do the same thing. If I were rich, I would go abroad. If I were the boss, I'd fire you. If I were to go abroad, I would go to France. If I were to study French, I'd prefer to study with a native French speaker. If I were Tom, I'd sue them. If I were you, I would apply for the scholarship. If I were you, I would paint it blue. If I were you, I would trust her. If I were you, I wouldn't do it. If I were you, I wouldn't do such a rude thing. If I were you, I wouldn't do that. If I were you, I wouldn't eat that. If I were you, I wouldn't hesitate. If I were you, I wouldn't move to Boston. If I were you, I wouldn't sing that kind of song. If I were you, I wouldn't trust Tom. If I were you, I'd ask Tom for help. If I were you, I'd buy that one. If I were you, I'd do that. If I were you, I'd follow his advice. If I were you, I'd follow Tom's advice. If I were you, I'd go talk to Tom. If I were you, I'd go. If I were you, I'd hit Tom. If I were you, I'd ignore it. If I were you, I'd listen to Tom. If I were you, I'd listen to Tom's advice. If I were you, I'd paint it blue. If I were you, I'd start immediately. If I were you, I'd study harder. If I were you, I'd talk to Tom. If I were you, I'd think twice before going down that path. If I were you, I'd want to know what Tom is doing right now. If I were younger, I would go abroad to study. If I weren't broke, I'd buy it. If I weren't poor, I'd buy that car. If I weren't sick, I'd join you. If I won the lottery, I'd buy a new car. If I won the lottery, I'd buy you a car. If I won the lottery, I'd buy you a new car. If I'm late, I'll be scolded. If I'd been able to speak French then, I wouldn't have gotten into trouble. If I'd had more money, I'd have bought that pen. If I'd known Tom was going to be in Boston, I'd have told you. If I'd known Tom was in Boston, I'd have told you. If I'd known Tom was in Boston, I'd have tried to visit him. If I'd only known how Tom felt, I wouldn't have gone out with Mary. If I'd studied French harder when I was in school, I'd probably not be so bad at it now. If I'm late, don't wait for me. If I'm not home, just let yourself in. If I'm not too busy, I'll help you tomorrow. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it annoys you so much, file a complaint. If it doesn't rain, let's go out. If it doesn't happen, don't blame me. If it doesn't rain tomorrow, Tom plans to go on a picnic with Mary. If it had not been for your help, my father would have failed. If it hadn't been for the storm, I would have arrived earlier. If it hadn't been for the storm, I would have arrived sooner. If it happens again, we want to be ready. If it is worth doing at all, it is worth doing well. If it looks like an apple and it tastes like an apple, it's probably an apple. If it rains tomorrow, I will stay at home. If it rains tomorrow, I'll stay at home. If it rains tomorrow, they will not go. If it rains tomorrow, we'll go by car. If it rains, he won't come. If it rains, please call me. If it smells funny, don't eat it. If it snows a lot tomorrow, let's make a snowman. If it snows tomorrow, I'll build a snowman. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably isn't. If it sounds too good to be true, it's probably not true. If it was easy, it wouldn't be a challenge. If it wasn't a mouse, what was it? If it were not for air and water, nothing could live. If it were not for the sun, we could not live at all. If it were not for water and salt, we could not live. If it were not for water, no one could live on earth. If it were only me, I'd stay and help. If it were possible, someone would have done it by now. If it were up to me, I'd say yes. If it were up to us, we'd say no. If it weren't for her help, I would not be alive now. If it's raining, we don't plan to go hiking. If it'll help, I'll go talk to Tom. If it's at all possible, I'd like you to take part in the next meeting. If it's not broken, don't fix it. If it's not one thing, it's another. If it's not too much trouble, I would like some help. If it's possible, I'd like to exchange this for a larger size. If it's raining tomorrow, we'll go by car. If it's raining tomorrow, we'll go there by car. If it's Tom, we've got problems. If life deals you lemons, make lemonade. If life gives you lemons, make lemonade. If mankind doesn't take care of the environment may eliminate mankind. If Mary knew how to swim, she would go to the beach more often. If Mary slapped Tom, I'm sure he deserved it. If my brother hadn't helped me, I would have drowned. If my brother hadn't saved me, I would have drowned. If my house were a mansion, I would invite everyone I know to my birthday party. If nobody's here, just leave a message. If not now, then when? If not now, when? If only I could sing well. If only I had known this earlier. If only I'd listened to what Tom said, I wouldn't be in this kind of trouble. If only Tom could see you now. If possible, I'll come tomorrow. If Shakespeare were still living, he'd be over 450 years old. If so, then there's no problem at all, is there? If someone paid you to kill Tom, would you? If something did happen to Tom, I don't know what I'd do. If something goes wrong, call me. If something goes wrong, call Tom. If something happened to you, I don't know what I'd do. If something is wrong, tell me. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If students today had more free time, they might show more interest in politics. If that guitar were not so expensive, I could buy it. If that guitar weren't so expensive, I could buy it. If that happens again, I'll leave. If that happens, call me. If that happens, give me a call. If that happens, I'll resign. If that wasn't Tom, who was it? If that's true, then Tom is innocent. If that's what you want to do, do it. If that's what you want to do, I'll help you do it. If the alarm rings, walk, don't run. If the cat fits, wear it. If the phone rings again, I plan to ignore it. If the phone rings again, I will ignore it. If the weather is bad, we won't go out for a walk. If the weather is good, I'll go. If there are problems, call me. If there is anything you want, don't hesitate to ask me. If there's another war, we'll all die. If there's anything else you need, just let me know. If there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. If there's anything I can do to help, please just ask. If there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. If there's anything we can do, just call. If there's anything you want to do, you should do it if it makes you happy. If there's anything you want to do, you should do it if you can. If there's anything you want to do, you should do it. If there's no bread, just eat the cake. If there's nothing else for me to do, I'm going home. If they don't want this, then what do they want? If they find us, we're dead. If this happens again, call me. If this happens again, let me know. If this plan doesn't work, we'll have to try something else. If Tom ate more vegetables, he'd probably be healthier. If Tom breaks his promise, he'll regret it. If Tom breaks up with Mary, he'll regret it. If Tom calls, tell him I'll be there by 2:30. If Tom came back home, I'd be happy again. If Tom came to Boston, where would he stay? If Tom can't do it, nobody can. If Tom comes, please let me know. If Tom comes, please tell me. If Tom comes, won't you please let me know? If Tom could speak French, I'd hire him right away. If Tom couldn't do it, probably nobody else will be able to either. If Tom could have spoken French, he'd have had more fun. If Tom didn't do it, then who did? If Tom didn't write it, who did? If Tom didn't write this, then who did? If Tom didn't write this, then who wrote it? If Tom dies, what will we do? If Tom does that, he's sure to regret it. If Tom doesn't do it, who will? If Tom doesn't eat this, please give it to Mary. If Tom doesn't get the job, I'll tell you. If Tom doesn't go, I won't either. If Tom doesn't go, I won't go either. If Tom doesn't mind, I'd like to join him for lunch. If Tom doesn't swim, I won't either. If Tom doesn't want to go, he doesn't have to. If Tom finds out I told you this, he'll kill me. If Tom finds out what Mary did, he won't be happy. If Tom goes swimming, so will I. If Tom goes to Boston, so will I. If Tom goes, I will too. If Tom goes, I won't go. If Tom goes, I won't. If Tom goes, I'll go with him. If Tom goes, I'll go too. If Tom had asked Mary for advice first, he wouldn't have had this problem. If Tom had asked me for some money, I'd have given it to him. If Tom had been able to speak French better, he would have been able to tell everybody how he really felt. If Tom had been here, he'd have helped us. If Tom had been here, it definitely would have made a difference. If Tom had been speaking French, I would have been able to understand him. If Tom had gone there, I wouldn't have had to. If Tom had had enough money, he would have gone to Boston with Mary. If Tom had had something to throw, he'd have thrown it. If Tom had money, he wouldn't be here. If Tom had understood French, he would have known what was going on. If Tom hadn't been so insecure, he could probably have accepted Mary's love. If Tom hadn't helped Mary, she wouldn't have stood a chance of surviving. If Tom hadn't invited me, I wouldn't have come. If Tom is going, I'm going too. If Tom is happy, I'm happy. If Tom is looking for someone to blame, it'll be Mary. If Tom is really alive, where is he? If Tom is tired, let him go to bed. If Tom isn't careful, he's going to get himself killed. If Tom joins your team, I will too. If Tom knew how to swim, he'd probably want to go to the beach with us. If Tom messes up again, he's going to get fired. If Tom said he'd help, he will. If Tom said it, it's probably true. If Tom spoke a little slower, people would be able to understand him better. If Tom swims, I will too. If Tom wants our help, he should call. If Tom wants to leave, he can. If Tom was angry before, he'll be furious now. If Tom were here, he could help you. If Tom were here, he'd know what to do. If Tom were in trouble, Mary would know. If Tom were older, he'd understand. If Tom wins, I'll be happy. If Tom would eat less, he'd be healthier. If Tom would learn to be a little more positive about things, people would probably like him a bit more. If Tom would smile more often, he'd probably have more friends. If Tom wouldn't eat so much, he wouldn't be so fat. If Tom's girlfriend knew he was here now, she'd be very angry. If Tom's not careful, he's going to get injured. If Tom's not happy, I'm not happy. If two men always have the same opinion, one of them is unnecessary. If we can help, we'll help any way we can. If we can't trust each other, who can we trust? If we don't do it, who will? If we don't hurry, we'll miss our train. If we don't leave soon, we won't get there while it's still light. If we don't leave soon, we'll be late. If we don't receive Tom's reply within the next 3 days, I think we should write him again. If we hurry, we can still make it. If we knew anything, we'd tell you. If we leave now, we could be back in Boston by 2:30. If we miss the train, we'll go by bus. If we need any help, I'll let you know. If we need your help, we'll call you. If we stay here, we might be safe. If we stay here, we'll probably die. If we stop here, we'll be right back where we started. If we work as a team, we can achieve anything. If we'd been on that plane, we'd be dead now. If we'd followed Tom's advice, we wouldn't be having this problem now. If we'd taken that plane, we'd be dead now. If we're going to finish this by Monday, we'd better not waste time. If we're lucky, we'll double our money. If you act like a child, you will be treated as such. If you are by my side, I don't need anything else. If you are free, give me a hand. If you are going to have a party, please count me in. If you are happy, I'm glad. If you are here, it means you care. If you aren't careful, you'll fail again. If you ask me, it was just a waste of time. If you ask me, she's a little unusual. If you ask me, talking to Tom will be a waste of time. If you ask me, this is a complete waste of time. If you ask me, Tom is the problem. If you ask Tom, he'll help. If you behave like a servant, you'll be treated like a servant. If you can come tomorrow, please do. If you can't be good, be careful. If you can't beat 'em, join 'em. If you can't beat them, join them. If you can't come, please let me know ahead of time. If you can't come, you should let me know ahead of time. If you can't make it, call us as soon as possible. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. If you catch a cold, you cannot easily get rid of it. If you change your mind, let me know. If you change your mind, let us know. If you could assist me, it would be a great help. If you could only speak English, you would be perfect. If you create a popular app, you could become a millionaire overnight. If you did that for me, it would help a lot. If you did that, they'd kick you out of the bar. If you didn't take it, who did? If you didn't want to come, you should have said something. If you didn't want to go, you should have said something. If you do it this way, you can save several hours. If you do it, I might be able to help you. If you do that, everyone's going to hate you. If you do that, Tom will get angry. If you do that, you'll be making a fool of yourself. If you do that, you'll ruin everything. If you do that, you're going to look ridiculous. If you do this for me, I'll never ask you to do anything else. If you don't behave, Santa won't come. If you don't believe me, ask Tom. If you don't believe me, go and see for yourself. If you don't believe me, go and see it for yourself. If you don't bother the bees, they're unlikely to sting you. If you don't eat, you'll die. If you don't eat, you'll get sick. If you don't go, I'll go. If you don't have enough money, I'll lend you some. If you don't have one, I'll give you one. If you don't have this key, you won't be able to get in. If you don't hurry, you won't get there before dark. If you don't hurry, you'll be late for your appointment. If you don't hurry, you'll be late. If you don't hurry, you'll miss the last train. If you don't hurry, you'll miss the train. If you don't know the way, ask a policeman. If you don't know, who does? If you don't leave, I'm going to call the police. If you don't like it here, then leave. If you don't like it, don't eat it. If you don't like it, just say so. If you don't like this, you don't have to eat it. If you don't like your job, quit. If you don't mind, I'll go with Tom. If you don't run, you'll be late. If you don't tell Tom, I will. If you don't tell Tom, then I will. If you don't understand, please raise your hand. If you don't want it, don't eat it. If you don't want it, I'll eat it. If you don't want me to go, I won't. If you don't want me to stay here, I'll leave. If you don't want them here, ask them to leave. If you don't want this, I'll give it to someone else. If you don't want to attend the meeting, you don't have to. If you don't want to attend Tom's birthday party, you don't have to. If you don't want to come back, I'll understand. If you don't want to come, you don't have to. If you don't want to do it for Tom, then do it for me. If you don't want to do it yourself, you can ask Tom to do it. If you don't want to do it, it's okay. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. If you don't want to do it, you don't need to. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. If you don't want to do this, just say so. If you don't want to do this, you don't have to. If you don't want to give a speech, you don't have to. If you don't want to go to that party, you don't have to. If you don't want to go to Tom's birthday party, you don't have to. If you don't want to go, fine. If you don't want to go, just say so. If you don't want to go, you don't have to. If you don't want to go, you don't need to. If you don't want to have any more contact with Tom, that's fine with me. If you don't want to know, don't ask. If you don't want to read, don't. If you don't want to read, then don't. If you don't want to say anything, you don't have to. If you don't want to sing, you don't have to. If you don't want to stay, you don't have to. If you don't want to talk to me, that's fine. If you don't want to talk, you don't have to. If you don't want to tell me, that's okay. If you don't want Tom here, ask him to leave. If you don't want us to get in Tom's way, we won't. If you don't work, you can't eat. If you don't work, you don't eat. If you don't work, you shouldn't eat. If you drink, don't drive. If you drive, don't drink. If you eat a lot, you'll eventually get fat. If you eat at this time of night, you'll get fat. If you eat nothing but ice cream, you'll get a stomachache. If you eat that much, you'll get a stomachache. If you eat that much, you'll get fat. If you eat that much, you'll have a stomachache. If you eat that, Tom will be angry. If you eat too much, you'll become fat. If you eat too much, you'll get fat. If you ever come to Boston, you're welcome to stay with us. If you ever do anything to hurt Tom, I'll kill you. If you ever do come to Boston, definitely give me a call. If you ever need a job, go see Tom. If you ever want to get better, you have to take this medicine. If you fail this class, you won't be able to graduate. If you fail this class, you'll have to take it again next year. If you feed your dog properly, you can increase his lifespan. If you find a mistake, please leave a comment. If you find one, let me know. If you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. If you follow the street, you will get to the station. If you get sleepy, just tell me. If you get sleepy, let me know. If you get sleepy, tell me. If you go to the movies, take your sister with you. If you go, I'll go too. If you had $1 million, what would you do? If you had stayed here, you would have had a very good time. If you had stuck around, you would have had a lot of fun. If you had to go live on a deserted island and could only take one book with you, which one would you choose? If you had wanted our help, why didn't you ask us for it? If you hadn't had advice, you'd have failed. If you hadn't had my advice, you would have failed. If you have a fever, it would be a good idea to go to the hospital right away. If you have a fever, you should go to the hospital right away. If you have a minute, you might want to read this. If you have a problem, talk to Tom. If you have a question, please raise your right hand. If you have any problem, just call. If you have any problems, call. If you have any problems, I'll help. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. If you have any questions, just ask. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have any questions, please call. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. If you have nothing to do, why not read a book? If you have something to say, just say it. If you have something to say it. If you have something to tell me, say it. If you have time, why don't you drop by his gallery? If you hear from Tom, give me a call. If you hear hoofbeats, don't look for zebras. If you hear the alarm, walk, don't run. If you heat ice, it melts. If you hurt her, I'll kill you. If you knew, you'd tell me, wouldn't you? If you know what needs to be done, please go ahead and do it. If you know where Tom is, tell me. If you leave now, you'll be in Boston by tomorrow evening. If you leave now, you'll get there on time. If you leave your textbooks at school during the break, they'll get confiscated. If you let me, I can help you. If you lie to me, I'll know. If you like, I can do that for you. If you listen carefully to my instructions, it'll save you some time. If you make your own clothes, it will save you money. If you mix blue and red, you get violet. If you mix blue and red, you'll get purple. If you need an umbrella, I can lend you one. If you need anything, just ask. If you need anything, just call. If you need help, feel free to call me. If you need help, I can help you. If you need help, just ask. If you need me to do something, just say so. If you need me to, I'll come. If you need me to, I'll help you. If you need me, call me. If you need me, I'll be in my office. If you need money, I can lend you some. If you need my advice, I'd be glad to give it to you. If you need my help, let me know. If you need some money, why don't you borrow some from your mother? If you need someone to talk to, call me. If you need something, just call. If you need to blame someone, blame Tom and me. If you need to sit down, sit down. If you need to sleep, go ahead. If you only had one more week to live, what would you spend your time doing? If you push the button, the engine will stop. If you put more tea leaves into the pot, the tea will taste better. If you really don't want to come, you don't have to. If you really like Mary, you should ask her out. If you really need a job, why don't you consider working for Tom? If you really want a challenge, you should try windsurfing. If you really want to help, please come by 2:30. If you really want to know, all you have to do is ask. If you really want to know, why don't you ask Tom? If you refuse, Tom will be furious. If you run into Tom, ask him how his mother is doing. If you run into Tom, ask him when Mary is going to get out of the hospital. If you see a mistake, then please correct it. If you see or hear anything, let me know. If you see Tom, ask him how his wife is doing. If you see Tom, don't forget to ask him how his wife's doing. If you see Tom, please tell him for me. If you see Tom, please tell him to call me. If you see Tom, tell him I'm looking for him. If you should have any trouble, don't hesitate to come to me. If you should meet a bear, pretend to be dead. If you speak French, I won't understand. If you spend too much time in the sun without putting on sunscreen, you are likely to get a sunburn. If you stack the dishes up by the sink, I'll do them later. If you stay, I'll stay. If you study hard, you'll pass the exam. If you take a nap here, you'll catch a cold. If you take this medicine, you'll feel a lot better. If you tell me the truth, I'll forgive you. If you tell your teacher you lost your homework, she won't believe you. If you think it'll make you happy, go ahead and do it. If you touch that wire, you'll get a shock. If you try, you could save even more. If you try your best now, happiness will come to you. If you try, you'll succeed. If you turn left, you'll see a coffee shop. If you turn to the left, you'll see a white building. If you understand, please raise your hand. If you understand, raise your hand. If you visit Tom now, he'll probably be watching TV. If you wait a while, your eyes will adjust to the dark. If you wait right here, I'll go get Tom. If you want a new bike, you'd better start saving up. If you want a pencil, I'll lend you one. If you want a sandwich, raise your hand. If you want any help, just call me. If you want me to be quiet, just ask. If you want me to go, I will. If you want me to go, I'll go. If you want me to help Tom, I'll help him. If you want me to help you, all you have to do is ask. If you want me to help, just ask. If you want me to kiss you, all you have to do is ask. If you want me to play the piano, I'll play the piano. If you want me to show Tom, I'll show him. If you want me to stay, just tell me. If you want me to stay, then tell me. If you want me to wear those boots, I'll wear those boots. If you want me to, I'll do that for you. If you want money, why don't you call Tom? If you want more details about that, you'll have to ask my boss. If you want my help, you'll have to ask for it. If you want one, you'll have to find your own. If you want one, you'll have to pay for it out of your own allowance. If you want quality, pay for it. If you want security in your old age, begin saving now. If you want something done right, do it yourself. If you want something done right, you should do it yourself. If you want something done, you often have to do it yourself. If you want that hat, I'll buy it for you. If you want that, you can have it. If you want to be a good writer, you need to practice writing. If you want to ask any more questions, you can ask Tom. If you want to be a good father, you need to spend time with your children. If you want to be a newspaperman, you have to be observant. If you want to be alone, I'll leave. If you want to change your mind, I'd understand. If you want to change your mind, it's okay with me. If you want to come back, I'll understand. If you want to come over, call first. If you want to come, you can. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to dance, let's dance together. If you want to do that, I'm not going to try and stop you. If you want to find out more information about this, please call us. If you want to fire me, fire me. If you want to get out of here alive, follow me. If you want to get out of here alive, listen to me. If you want to go out with Tom, you can. If you want to go there, I'm not going to try and stop you. If you want to go to the art museum, take this bus. If you want to go, go. If you don't want to, that's okay too. If you want to go, I won't stop you. If you want to go, then go. If you want to go, we'll go. If you want to kiss me, then kiss me. If you want to know, just ask. If you want to learn the truth, sit down and listen. If you want to make your dreams come true, keep on trying. If you want to quit, just say so. If you want to really improve your French, you should move to a country where it's spoken. If you want to say something, go ahead and say it. If you want to see Tom, you have to hurry. If you want to sit down, sit down. If you want to speak to me, please call me up. If you want to stay here, you are welcome to. If you want to stay, you can stay. If you want to succeed in life, work hard. If you want to take a break, just say so. If you want to talk to Tom about this, let me know and I'll give you his number. If you want to talk, let's talk. If you want to talk, talk. If you want to tell Tom, tell him. If you want to try it, go ahead and try it. If you want to yell at someone, yell at me. If you want Tom to respect you, you must respect Tom. If you want Tom's help, you'll have to ask him for it. If you want us to help, just ask. If you want your money back, just say so. If you want your money back, you can have it. If you want your workers to be happy, you need to pay them a decent wage. If you want, I can show you how to do that. If you want, we can talk later. If you want, you can phone me. If you wash it, your car will shine in the sun. If you were in my shoes, what would you do? If you were in my shoes, what would you think? If you were in Tom's shoes, what would you do? If you were me, what would you do? If you were to win the lottery, what would you buy with the money? If you were Tom, what would you do? If you were Tom, what would you want? If you wish to speak to Tom, you'll need to wait about 3 hours. If you wish, I'll ask. If you won 1,000,000 yen, what would you do? If you won't tell Tom, I will. If you worry too much, you'll go bald. If you would like some help, why don't you call Tom? If you would move over, there would be room for everyone. If you wouldn't mind, I could use a hand. If you'd asked me, I'd have told you. If you'd been there, we would have had a good time together. If you'd kissed me, I'd be happy. If you'd known, you would have told me, wouldn't you? If you'd like to study French with a native speaker, please contact me. If you'd like, I could talk to Tom. If you'd like, you may use my desk. If you'd listen a little more carefully to what the teacher says, you'd probably be able to understand. If you'd listen, you'd understand. If you'd prefer, we can speak French. If you'd run all the way, you would have gotten there in time. If you told me about it earlier, I could have been free. However, tomorrow I have plans to go back home. If you'll wait a moment, I can help you. If your father asks your mother a question in French, does she answer in French or in English? If you're as smart as you claim you are, it won't be difficult. If you're busy, I can do that for you. If you're busy, I'll help you. If you're busy, you don't have to come. If you're captured, don't say anything. If you're going to go to France, you should brush up on your French. If you're going to kill me, I want to know why. If you're happy, then I'm happy for you. If you're hungry, eat. If you're interested in going to the zoo tomorrow, I'll pick you up at 2:30. If you're looking for a job, call me. If you're not busy, could you please help me? If you're not careful, you might have an accident. If you're not happy, quit. If you're not interested, just say so. If you're not listening to the radio, turn it off. If you're not too busy, could you help me? If you're not watching the TV, I'll turn it off. If you're not watching the TV, turn it off. If you're ready, we'll begin. If you're sleepy, you should take a nap. If you're still hungry, have another hamburger. If you're tired, go to bed. If you're tired, just let me know. If you're tired, rest. If you're tired, you should go to bed. If you're withholding information, there could be severe consequences. If you've got something to say, say it. Are you sure you don't mind if I stay? Call if you need anything. Call if you need me. Call me if anything changes. Call me if anything happens. Call me if anything interesting happens. Call me if something happens. Call me if there's a change. Call me if there's any change. Call me if there's anything I can do. Call me if you find Tom. Call me if you have a problem. Call me if you have any problems at all. Call me if you have any problems. Call me if you have difficulties. Call me if you need anything. Call me if you need assistance. Call me if you need help. Call me if you need me. Call me if you need my assistance. Call me if you need my help. Call me if you want to do something together tomorrow. Call me immediately if anything happens. Call us if you think of anything. Do you mind if I ask a few questions? Do you mind if I ask Tom something? Do you mind if I ask why not? Do you mind if I ask why? Do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions? Do you mind if I ask you a personal question? Do you mind if I call you Tom? Do you mind if I change the channel? Do you mind if I come along? Do you mind if I come in? Do you mind if I don't do this? Do you mind if I go? Do you mind if I help myself? Do you mind if I join in? Do you mind if I join you? Do you mind if I leave early? Do you mind if I leave? Do you mind if I open the window? Do you mind if I park here? Do you mind if I sit down? Do you mind if I sit? Do you mind if I smoke? Do you mind if I speak with Tom? Do you mind if I stay here? Do you mind if I tag along? Do you mind if I try this on? Do you mind if I turn down the TV? Do you mind if I turn off the AC? Do you mind if I turn off the light? Do you mind if I turn on the radio? Do you mind if I turn on the TV? Do you mind if I use your computer? Do you mind if I watch TV for a while? Do you mind if we come in? Do you mind if we join you? Do you mind if we sit down? I asked her if she could go to the party. I asked her if she had been to Mexico. I asked her if she knew his address. I asked her if she was going out. I asked him if he knew her address. I asked him if he knew my name. I asked him if he wanted a watch. I asked him if he was busy. I asked him if he would go there the next day. I asked him if he would go too. I asked him if he would help me. I asked him if he would return soon. I asked him if he would scratch my back. I asked if he wanted a ride. I asked my mother if breakfast was ready. I asked Tom if dinner was ready. I asked Tom if he could have it ready by 2:30. I asked Tom if he had a cold, but he shook his head. I asked Tom if he had a safe deposit box. I asked Tom if he had any suggestions. I asked Tom if he knew anybody who taught French. I asked Tom if he knew Mary. I asked Tom if he liked Chinese food. I asked Tom if he needed money. I asked Tom if he needed more money. I asked Tom if he needed more time. I asked Tom if he understood. I asked Tom if he wanted something to eat and he said yes. I asked Tom if he wanted to drive. I asked Tom if he wanted to go and he said no. I asked Tom if he wanted to go swimming. I asked Tom if he wanted to go to Boston with me. I asked Tom if he was busy. I asked Tom if he was cold, but he shook his head. I asked Tom if he was nervous. Is it okay if I ask another question? Is it okay if I borrow these? Is it okay if I bring a guest? Is it okay if I call you Tom? Is it okay if I come tomorrow too? Is it okay if I go home now? Is it okay if I go in jeans? Is it okay if I go out with Tom? Is it okay if I hold your hand? Is it okay if I hug you? Is it okay if I kiss you? Is it okay if I open a can? Is it okay if I open the curtain? Is it okay if I sit here? Is it okay if I start? Is it okay if I stay here? Is it okay if I tell Tom about it? Is it okay if I touch this? Is it okay if I turn off the light? Is it okay if I use that? Is it okay if we begin? Is it okay if we change the subject? Is it okay if we swim here? It doesn't bother me if you stay. It doesn't bother me if you take that book. It doesn't matter if there's a crowd. It doesn't matter to me if you take that book. It looks as if Tom is trying to slow down the negotiations. It might be good if you bought it. It might make things easier if Tom helped us. It might have taken longer if Tom hadn't helped us. It sounds as if you don't like Tom. It was difficult to tell if Tom was in his room. It would be a good idea if I went. It would be best if he didn't do that. It would be best if you stopped smoking. It would be better if I didn't tell you. It would be better if we just kept doing what we're doing. It would be better if you didn't go outside today. It would be better if you read more books. It would be better if you went by train. It would be great if we could meet again. It would be great if you could join us for dinner. It would be great if you could join us. It would be helpful if you could do that for me. It would be nice if that were so. It would be nice if we could do that. It would be nice if you could help. It would be sad if that happened again. It would be sad if that were true. It would break if you dropped it. It would mean a lot to Tom if you showed up at his party. It wouldn't do any good if you did that. It wouldn't surprise me if Tom and Mary got married. It wouldn't surprise me if Tom didn't show up. It wouldn't surprise me if Tom doesn't come. It would have been better if you had gone to Boston with Tom. It would have been nice if Tom had been here. It would have been nice if Tom had told us he'd be late. It would have been nice if you told me earlier. It's cheaper if you order these by the dozen. It'd be better if you didn't associate with men like that. It'd be better if you didn't come today. It'll be entertaining if nothing else. It'll be more fun if we do it together. It'll happen again if you aren't careful. It'll save time if we avoid Park Street. It's a question of when, not if. It's best if you don't know. It's best if you don't talk. It's doubtful if we'll finish in time for Christmas. It's easy if you try. It's getting dark. I wonder if it's going to rain. It's hard to tell if a woman is really happy. It's okay with me if you take that book. It's probably best if we go now. It's too early to tell if Tom will be able to walk again. I've decided to ask Mary if she'll marry me. Just let me know if you won't be here on time. Let me ask Tom if he wants to go with us. Let me know if I need to change. Let me know if I need to make any changes. Let me know if something's missing. Let me know if there is anything I can do. Let me know if there's something I can do. Let me know if you find anything else. Let me know if you find anything. Let me know if you hear anything. Let me know if you need any help. Let me know if you need anything. Let me know if you need help. Let me know if you need more. Let me know if you need my help. Let me read the newspaper if you've finished with it. Let me see if I can do anything. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can fix that for you. Let me see if Tom has changed his mind. Let me see if Tom is ready to go. Let me see if Tom is ready. Let them eat if they want to. Let Tom buy a new computer if he wants to. Let us know if we can be of any help. Let us know if we have your support. Let us know if you can come. Let us know if you can make it. Let us know if you can't get here on time. Let us know if you don't understand something. Let us know if you have any suggestions. Let us know if you need anything. Let us know if you see Tom. Let us know if you'd like to join us. Let us know if you're available next week. Let us know if you're coming. Let's ask if it is true. Let's ask Tom if he can help us. Let's ask Tom if he knows how to speak French. Let's ask Tom if he knows what to do. Let's ask Tom if he paid his taxes. Let's go see if Tom can help us. Let's go see if Tom is at home. Let's go to the garage and see if Tom is there. Let's hope they call you if something goes wrong. Let's just try it and see if it works. Let's look around and see if anybody's in the park. Let's not go if it's raining. Let's wait and see if that happens. Let's wait and see if Tom really needs our help. What am I supposed to do if Tom comes? What do I do if Tom calls? What do you want me to tell Tom if he calls? What happens if I get caught? What happens if I press this button? What happens if I say no? What happens if that happens? What happens if Tom doesn't pass? What happens if Tom doesn't show up? What happens if Tom loses? What happens if we fail? What happens if we get caught? What happens if we get infected? What happens if you get wet? What if I don't pass? What if I fail? What if I refuse? What if I told you I really want to be a teacher? What if I'm not lucky? What if I'm right? What if I'm wrong? What if it's too late? What if somebody saw this? What if somebody sees you? What if someone finds out? What if someone kidnapped Tom? What would you do? What if someone killed Tom? What would you do? What if someone sees it? What if someone sees this? What if someone sees us? What if something gets broken? What if something goes wrong? What if something happens to Tom? What if the problem is Tom? What if the problem isn't Tom? What if there's a fire? What if there's a leak? What if they don't like me? What if Tom can't handle it? What if Tom doesn't come back? What if Tom doesn't make it? What if Tom finds out? What if Tom insists on doing that? What if Tom is right? What if Tom is still alive? What if Tom is telling the truth? What if Tom is wrong? What if Tom says no? What if Tom was right? What if we don't find Tom? What if we should fail? What if what Tom does isn't good enough? What'll we do then? What if he gave a speech and nobody came? What if you're wrong? What should I do if I get sick again? What should I do if Tom calls? What should I do if Tom comes? What should I do if Tom gets sick again? What should we do if it rains? What should you do if you are bitten by a cobra? What will happen if there's power failure now? What will we do if it rains? What would happen if I push this button? What would happen if you didn't do that? What would happen if you didn't do what Tom told you to? What would Tom do if he ever learned the truth? What would Tom do if he found out? What would Tom say if he walked in right now? What would Tom say if he were here? What would you buy if you won the lottery? What would you do if I weren't here? What would you do if Tom ever learned the truth? What would you do if you failed? What would you do if you had $1 billion? What would you do if you had $10,000? What would you do if you retired? What would you do if you saw a man from another planet? What would you do if you were in my place? What would you think if I did that? What would your friends think if they saw you now? What would have happened if Tom had come? What would have happened if Tom had seen us? What would have happened if Tom hadn't been there to help? What would have happened if Tom hadn't done that? What would have happened to me if I hadn't done that? What would have happened to me if I'd done that? What'll happen if I push this button? What'll happen to Tom if he's found guilty? What'll we do if Tom is late? What'll you do if someone sees you? Where would you be if you were Tom? Who would look after my children if I died? Why don't we see if Tom wants to go with us? Why don't we see if Tom wants to play cards with us? Why don't you ask Tom if you can borrow his bicycle? Why would you do that if you don't have to? Why would you want to do that if you don't have to? Will it bother you if I turn on the radio? Would anyone mind if I turned on some lights? Would it be okay if I asked you something? Would it be okay if I did this later? Would it be okay if I didn't invite Tom to my party? Would it be okay if I discussed it with my family? Would it be okay if I discussed it with my wife? Would it be okay if I drank a little more tea? Would it be okay if I played your guitar? Would it be okay if I sat here? Would it be okay if I stayed home today? Would it be okay if I told Tom why? Would it be okay if I took a quick shower? Would it be okay if I turned off the lights? Would it be okay if I used your computer? Would it be okay if Tom comes? Would it be okay if we spoke French instead? Would it have been better if Tom hadn't been there? Would it have made any difference if I had been there? Would it help if I talked to Tom? Would it help if I turned on the light? Would it help if Tom went with you? Would it really have made any difference if I had been there? Would Tom accept your help if you offered it? Would Tom help us if we asked? Would you be happier if I stayed? Would you buy one if it were a little cheaper? Would you do that again if you had the chance? Would you go back to Boston if you could? Would you go back to Boston if you had the chance? Would you have come to visit me if I had invited you? Would you have helped me if I'd asked you to? Would you know if anything is missing? Would you ladies mind if we join you? Would you mind if I ask a question? Would you mind if I ask why not? Would you mind if I ask why? Would you mind if I ask you a few questions? Would you mind if I ask you a personal question? Would you mind if I ask you a question? Would you mind if I asked you a few questions? Would you mind if I asked you something? Would you mind if I ate a piece of this pie? Would you mind if I borrow this? Would you mind if I came along? Would you mind if I catch some sleep? Would you mind if I change subjects? Would you mind if I drank the rest of the milk? Would you mind if I drive? Would you mind if I gave Tom a call? Would you mind if I have a look? Would you mind if I help? Would you mind if I helped? Would you mind if I join you? Would you mind if I kissed you? Would you mind if I left a little early? Would you mind if I left early? Would you mind if I look around? Would you mind if I make a suggestion? Would you mind if I open the window? Would you mind if I poured myself a cup of coffee? Would you mind if I record this conversation? Would you mind if I sat here? Would you mind if I searched through Tom's room? Would you mind if I sit at the same table? Would you mind if I sit in? Would you mind if I sit with you? Would you mind if I sleep here tonight? Would you mind if I slept here? Would you mind if I speak to Tom alone for a second? Would you mind if I swam in your pool? Would you mind if I take a look? Would you mind if I told Tom about this? Would you mind if I told Tom? Would you mind if I took a break? Would you mind if I took a picture? Would you mind if I took one of these? Would you mind if I took the pink one? Would you mind if I try something? Would you mind if I turned off the lights? Would you mind if I wait here? Would you mind if I wait until Tom gets back? Would you mind if I walk with you? Would you mind if I went home early? Would you mind if I went out with your sister? Would you mind if you used your car? Would you mind if we asked you a few questions? Would you mind if we discussed this later? Would you mind if we join you? Would you mind if we left? Would you mind if we sit in? Would you mind if we spoke French instead? Would you mind if we spoke in French instead? Would you mind if we spoke in French? Would you mind if we stayed here for a while? Would you mind if we talked about this later? Would you mind if we waited here? Would you recognize Tom if you saw him? Would you stop what's going on if you could? Wouldn't it be better if I went with you? Wouldn't it be better if you did that by yourself? Wouldn't it be easier if Tom helped? Wouldn't it be great if Tom won? You didn't have to sing with us if you didn't want to. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. You don't have to come if you don't want to. You don't have to do that if you don't really want to. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. You don't have to get married if you don't want to. You don't have to go if you don't want to. You don't have to go to the dance if you don't want to. You don't have to go to the party if you don't want to. You don't have to hang around if you don't want to. You don't have to help us if you don't want to. You don't have to leave if you don't want to. You don't have to say anything if you don't feel like it. You don't have to speak to Tom if you don't want to. You don't have to stay if you don't want to. You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. You don't have to talk to me if you don't want to. You don't mind if I leave early, do you? You don't need to do that if you don't want to. You don't need to stay if you don't want to. You guys can do it if you try. You know where to find me if you need me. You know where to find me if you want to talk. You may come if you like. You may go home early today if you like. You may go home if you want to. You may go if you choose. You may leave if you want to. You may leave if you wish. You may stay here if you want to. You may still do it if you want to. You might learn something if you pay attention. You might meet Tom if you go to the library.